रुकेंगे नहीं रुकेंगे, सबको स्वस्थ करेंगे, पूरा स्वस्थ करेंगे, नहीं थमेंगे नहीं थमेंगे, अब ठान लिया है मंजिल पाके रहेंगे।
ओके अमाना तू है सिक, जहाँ से होना चाहिए वहीं से है तू थिक, न नजरों में आ न मुझको तू दिख, मैं तोड़ूंगा दिल तेरा ले कहीं तो लिख, बेबी किसी से भी पूछ लौंडा टू मच है, बोली में थोड़ा हरियाणवी टच है, जितने भी रूमर सुने तूने अपनी सहेलियों से मेरे बारे में वो सारे सच है, बेबी मैं हूँ वो जिसके बारे में चेतावनी देती होगी तुझे तेरी माँ, BAD शाह नाम बदल दियो मेरा, बेबी जो ना कर रहा थी तेरी ना।
सब मुझको देखे मैंने देखा तुझको बस है, सब धुंधला धुंधला लागे तुझ पे ही फोकस है, सब धुंधला धुंधला लागे तुझ पे है फोकस, ना दिखला तू इतनी तेजी करके बातें लेजी लेजी, ना दिखला तू इतनी तेजी करके बातें लेजी लेजी, मुझको ख्याल कमीने ना दे मीने ना दे, तेरा बस मुझे जीने ना दे जीने ना दे, तेरा बस मुझे जीने ना दे, तेरा बस मुझे जीने ना दे जीने ना दे, तेरा बस मुझे जीने ना दे, तेरा बस मुझे जीने ना दे जीने ना दे, तेरा बस मुझे जीने ना दे जीने ना दे, तेरा बस मुझे जीने ना दे जीने ना दे, तेरा बस मुझे जीने ना दे जीने ना दे। It's been long, तेरी बीन सुने परदेसी, it's been long, तेरी बीन सुने परदेसी, नागिन दिन गिन 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 मर गई, नागिन दिन गिन 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 मर गई, सजना बिन तेरे लगे आंगन टेढ़े, मैं नाच न जानू एक रत्ती anymore, लहराना भूली इठलाना भूली, घर आ जाना don't you love me anymore, it's been long, तेरी बीन सुने परदेसी, it's been long, तेरी बीन सुने परदेसी, नागिन दिन गिन 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 मर गई, नागिन दिन गिन 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 मर गई, मिस करती रहती तुझको पर तू मेरा फोन न पकड़े, अब कोई तो जंग फिर भी मुझसे ज्यादा तेरे नखरे, पल It's been long तेरे संग नचे परदेसी It's been long तेरे रंग नचे परदेसी नागिन गिन 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 मर गई नागिन गिन 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 मर गई
Fantastic performance. Please do stay on. Yeah. Lots of energy and not just in the singing but in the whole enactment. Huh? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But Astha Gill, as a young woman, what do you think are the biggest health stereotypes and challenges faced by Indian women?
What I personally face is lack of sleep, which is like very important, I feel. Because of the lifestyle we live. I think the sleep pattern is very important for the youth especially, you know, because when you set this right now, it'll help you in future, right? We don't realize it right now because our body's like, it keeps going.
Because sleep heals the mind and body.
It heals completely. Yeah. So, like, I feel that, you know, because of the lifestyle, because of, see, as an artist, we you know, sometimes have to be up late, we are doing events, but I really miss the times when I used to be at home and I used to sleep at nights, you know, on particular time and wake up on a set, in a set pattern. So I think that's very important for the youth, and people who have the opportunity to, you know, sleep on time and wake up on time, they should just grab onto it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the change that you wish to make, or a message that you wish to send to the youth who are listening to your songs as far as lack of sleep is concerned?
Yeah, I think main is the lifestyle. It's very important.
Basically, stop celebrating this as hard work. कि मैंने तो इतना काम किया कि मैं रात में सोया ही नहीं. ये कोई बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धि नहीं है.
Sir, नहीं, I think करना चाहिए, celebrate करना चाहिए, but like एक cycle जो set करना जरूरी है. Like I make sure even if I sleep late, I take my 8 hours of nap, you know. Maximum ज़्यादा होता है 7 हो जाता है, but उससे कम नहीं सोती. मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि तो वो बहुत important है. And मेरे को किसी ने ये बताया था कि because I told someone that, you know, कभी-कभी सुबह भी होती है सोते थे, तो कहते कि all you need is a pitch dark room, you know, because darkness चाहिए room में सोने के लिए. So make sure that whenever you're sleeping, you take that 8 hours and it's dark around you. Like light should not be there.
Science recently, a lot of data shows that lack of sleep is one of the biggest reasons for a whole lot of our other health issues and healing. It's you need a minimum of 8 hours, but if you can sleep between 10 and 2 o'clock at night, which is your deepest REM sleep, it's very, very healing for the body. Yeah. So that's important.
And I see the change in my body when I sleep on time. Like the next day I'm like really active, but if I sleep late and wake up late, that's like I'm the least active. I'm least active.
बच्चन साहब, ये तो मैं आपसे भी पूछना चाहता हूँ, ये क्योंकि आपका जीवन में जिस तरीके के शूट्स वगैरह होंगे, अटपटे समय में होते होंगे, इस चैलेंज से आपने कैसे ओवरकम किया? ये तो प्रॉब्लम होती ही होगी, शूट शेड्यूल और इस तरीके का जिसमें नींद ही नहीं होती.
सर मेरा काम बहुत आसान था. हमारे ज़माने में सर 2-2, 3-3 शिफ्टें होती थी. हाँ. सुबह 7 बजे से दोपहर 2 बजे एक फिल्म, एक शिफ्ट. हाँ. सो दोपहर 2 बजे से रात को 10 बजे दूसरी शिफ्ट, अलग फिल्म. हाँ. और रात के 10 बजे के बाद तीसरी शिफ्ट, 10 बजे रात से सुबह 5-6 बजे तक. हाँ. तीसरी फिल्म और तीसरी शिफ्ट. हाँ. खत्म बात.
तो इसमें बीच में कहीं सोने की गुंजाइश?
सोना क्या है, जब फिल्म कर रहे हैं उसी समय सो रहे हैं ना. सारी फिल्में जो है सर उसमें हम सोते ही रहे हैं, क्या करें. नहीं बट आप जो कह रही थी बिल्कुल सही है. 7-8 घंटे कम से कम सोना चाहिए, और 10 बजे से पहले अगर सो जाए तो अच्छा रहता है.
Thank you so much.
इतना समय मिलता नहीं है इतना समय मिलता नहीं है आजकल लेकिन बहुत से लोग हैं सर उनका टाइमिंग जो है वो होता ही है कि रात भर काम करेंगे और सुबह मान लीजिए कि रात भर काम किया 5-6 बजे तक काम किया और 6 बजे के बाद सो गए दोपहर को 3-4 बजे उठे तो भी वो अपना काम चला लेते हैं
सर ऐसे ही सर जैसे अब मेरे को गाना बनाने किसी के पास जाना तो सारे म्यूजिक प्रोड्यूसर सारे लिरिसिस्ट वो काम ही रात में कर रहे हैं तो मैं जितना भी चाहूँ मैं दिन में काम कर ही नहीं पाती क्योंकि आई एंड अप गोइंग फॉलोइंग देयर रूटीन
ये तो एक चुनौती की बात है मेरे ख्याल से ये जो सेलिब्रेशन होता है ना कि इतनी मेहनत की कि सोए ही नहीं ये एनफोर्समेंट बहुत गलत है इसको हार्ड वर्क की तरह प्रस्तुत नहीं करना चाहिए
राइट
और जो लोग 8 घंटे तमीज से सोते हो उनको बढ़ावा देना चाहिए थैंक यू सो मच आस्था थैंक यू सो मच
We'll be now discussing one of the biggest challenges and in fact one of the biggest sort of threats that we face. And this is a threat in our goal to obtain holistic health for all Indians, and this is the challenge of a deteriorating environment, biodiversity loss and climate change. As humans, we are carbon-based life forms who, even with the most advanced technology in the world, still need air to breathe, water to drink, and food to eat, which connects us directly to the natural world around us. If that natural world starts exhibiting signs of damage, we will experience the consequences of that directly in our health. India's Silicon Valley underwater. The heaviest rainfall in 115 years. And the warning signs are showing up globally in unprecedented heat waves, floods, droughts, and storms. India is the 5th most vulnerable country to climate change. Factors like dense populations, urban sprawls, poor drainage and sewage infrastructures, interrupted access to healthcare and geographical positioning makes the extreme weather events particularly dangerous. Climate change is displacing hundreds of thousands of people, while the floodwaters bring with them the danger of waterborne diseases. Extended and extreme heat causes dehydration, cardiovascular disorders, respiratory distress, and strokes. Droughts and floods damage crops, natural water systems are affected by erratic rain events, and livestock are susceptible to disease, in turn making the human populations vulnerable to disease and food and water shortages. The continuous assaults make natural ecosystems weaker and compromise their ability to cope, allowing the rise of viruses. It is an inescapable fact that as humans we are dependent on nature for our physical survival, but also for our emotional well-being. If we want holistic good health, which means physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and social well-being, we need clean environments, robust ecosystems, and access to green spaces, which enables us to breathe clean air and drink clean water. The time to act is now. Our lives literally depends upon this. And now we're joined by Bhumi Pednekar, actor and climate warrior. Bhumi, thank you so much for joining us. You've been a passionate advocate on the climate change issue. Can you tell us why this is so important to you?
Hello, everyone. It is a matter of importance to me because it is the largest looming threat humanity has ever faced. I don't think we as a generation realize the crisis that we are in. We are in a state of emergency, and not just me. This should be important to all of us. We are risking our future generations to come. We are risking our future. When you look at all the scientific data and what researchers and science has been telling us for so many years is that we've reached a tipping point and we are very close to going to the other side. I mean, just look at what's happening around us. We've just come out of a 2-year pandemic. We have gone through an economic crisis. There are various smaller countries that are going through very, very bad financial and economic crisis, and a lot of it has to do with climate change related problems. I don't think we realize that all the materialistic and all the superficial things that we all are running behind, well, I'm also a part of that race, but there has to be a certain amount of responsibility that has to come from us as individuals to try and solve the problem.
Bhumi, this is Amitabh.
The lack of empathy.
What do you think, Bhumi, are the most pressing challenges that we have when it comes to dealing with climate change?
The lack of empathy, the lack of care, the lack of, everything is going to be all right. The lack of ignorance is something that really concerns me. There's been a movement globally over the past few years that has been led by young adults, and yet we aren't listening to them. So that's something that concerns me. Just not a concern, it actually gives me sleepless nights. And as an aware citizen of this planet, which is our only home, I really, really, really hope that, we reach a point where we aren't just talking and doing these discussions and there's actual action that's taken.
Bhumi, hi, good afternoon. What do you see as some of the mitigation efforts as a society, as individuals, and as policy?
I feel the mitigation efforts that I feel that need to be looked at are more on an individualistic level. We definitely need stronger policies. We need world leaders to recognize that we are in a state of emergency and the effect and the adverse effects of climate change. We need to address them, definitely. But for me, I feel like on an individualistic level, there is so much that we can do, right from our consumption habits, right from making sure that there's enough awareness created, small little things from not using single-use plastic or using plastic sensibly, reducing our waste. Cities like Mumbai, Delhi produce tons and tons of waste every day. I don't think there's any thought that goes into us when we are discarding things. For years, we've been hearing these terms, recycle, upcycle, reuse. Now is the time to implement it. And I'm sorry, I might sound repetitive, but the point is that we have reached that tipping point. We need to become more sensitive towards our planet. Again, it can be rainwater harvesting in your societies. It could be recycling your waste. It could just be segregating your waste at source. It could be planting trees, a responsible consumption of natural resources. And yes, it might not affect us today, but it is going to affect us tomorrow. There's no way we can escape it. There's no way you can escape the wrath of nature. So yeah, I really hope that, our generation becomes the generation of regeneration. We become responsible towards our actions and we become a part of the solution.
Thank you so much for joining us, Bhumi. And now to take this discussion further, we're joined in the studio by Pinakiranjan Mishra, Ernst & Young, India Consumer Leader, and Sharon Jacob, the State Advocacy and Programme Manager, Plan India, will be also joining us to talk this through. So, sir, I'm going to ask you first. We've seen the mess that Bangalore was, post these floods. We see that every year, a lot of our weather patterns, the climate patterns, everything's getting quite bad. So when it comes to economics in this country, in a sense, how much do companies like Ernst & Young and other companies that assess situations, look at the economic status, really take into that calculation what the environmental cost? Because it can wipe out years of profit. One single event can wipe out years of profit.
Right. So I think I would say that companies have become more aware in the last couple of years in terms of actually measuring the effect. And I must compliment Reckitt being one of the forerunners in this regard. So companies are now today looking at their products, and their footprint and how they can mitigate some of the challenges of what we see today. I mean, we have seen in Bangalore, we saw Florida very recently, and it impacts everybody in the world, unfortunately. But what's more unfortunate is it impacts the poor much, much more. So I think companies are looking at, manufacturing more sustainably, making products that are more sustainably, and there's a lot of interest among the younger generation in looking or buying such sustainable products. But the journey has just begun, and I think the extent of damage that you have done probably is still not measured accurately. That's my sense, because every year we predict something, but we see much, much worse, right? So I think there's a long way to go.
Sharon Jacob, I want to come to you now. You see, you've been working very closely as far as this issue is concerned, and will be important to know from you what exactly can be done at a school level, at a very young age, children who are extremely vulnerable to climate change and the manner in which it is playing out. I believe that Rekit and you are addressing this through your climate resilience schools. So would you like to tell us more about it?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And it's indeed a pleasure to be speaking at such a big platform with such eminent speakers. As Mr. Mishra also said, and as Bhumi also said, about the issue of climate change being so important in today's time, I think the role of children becomes even more important, because they are the ones who are going to, live the future. And we are the ones who are making the future for them right now. So what we do today actually creates a future for them. So children need to become more of, as social active agents, rather than just beneficiaries or inheritors of this planet. So they to be able to, become really active agents of change. For that, they really need to be aware, be informed, and have the right tools and information to be able to act according to it. So climate education is one important tool which will equip them basically to understand what the situation is, critically analyze the effects of that situation, make informed decisions, and draw inferences from it. It's the groundbreaking new education policy that we have, India has come out with, also talks about environmental awareness and making it as one of the core subjects in the school, which covers aspects of climate change and sanitation and waste management, etc. So including climate education in schools will be, I think, the stepping stone. And it's really important that we start doing this to make an informed and aware citizens who will take, and make this planet actually livable.
Sharon, this is Amitabh here. Just wanted to ask a few things. I don't believe in what I'm saying, but we know that girls are, in a sense, seriously disadvantaged when compared to boys. In a situation, let us say, when there is a water shortage, the girls will be kept away from school because they're being asked to go and fetch the water or do the cooking or whatever it is. How do you face these challenges, and what do you recommend should be some kind of a rectification to this very abnormal belief?
Actually, sir, this is quite real, and it's happening. It happens. Climate change is not gender neutral. It actually amplifies the the inequalities, the social and gender inequalities that is present in our society. You're very right, and it's the fact that a girl child in drought-prone areas are more prone to not attending schools regularly, since they are expected to support the family in fetching water, and that collection of water takes most of their time. Menstrual hygiene is one important thing that also is affected. It's really badly affected in drought-prone areas where the access to water and sanitation is so restricted for girls that they end up not going to schools because of the lack of water and sanitation. Their health is affected. I think what needs to be done is, and we have been doing it for quite long, talking about gender equality and all that, but a lot of behavioral change is important. And I think schools and local communities and local self-government play a very important role in creating an environment where actually girl child, even though there is climate change issues, girl child are not affected or are not becoming much vulnerable compared to the boys. So I think this can be a way forward.
Yeah, we've always had these problems about toilets and menstrual management.
Yes.
And it's always the girl that suffers. And we have to challenge this and we have to change it. I know that there are many people that are working in that direction. And I'm sure that my granddaughter who's coming here is going to be talking about it more. But I think that one of the earlier campaigns that we started about building more toilets, the intention was really to build them because the girls were being prevented from using toilets, going out into the forests, or going out to places which are not very safe for them. So I think it's a good move, and I hope that we can somewhere have some kind of parity as far as
you
this
see,
is concerned.
there's a double challenge in India. One is like you have that the gender inequality, but the other challenge is, but you can build toilets and you can create the systems. But we know India is a water-challenged country as well. We're talking over 50 million people at a time sometimes don't have access to water. Forget clean or unclean water. And then the ones who do, then the water quality is compromised. So that also adds to, which is why these environmental sort of challenges are just so important for us to, pay attention to. But we're joined now by Gargi, who's with Dr. Anil Joshi. He flagged off a cycle rally from Mumbai to Uttarakhand, and he's kind of looking at all of these issues. He's a celebrated environmentalist. And over to you, Gargi.
Right, thank you so much for that, Swati. And you spoke about, the water security and scarcity in the country. And we are with Dr. Anil Joshi, who, as you said today, his cycle march, they're calling it, from the financial capital to the environment capital, from Mumbai to Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand, the birthplace of the Ganga, and so many rivers emanating from Uttarakhand and the glaciers that give us a lot of the water that comes to our plains. Well, let me just go across to Dr. Joshi to understand more about this cycle march, is what you're calling it. Cycle march from, it was flagged off today till the 9th of November, where it ends in Uttarakhand. What is your message here? The purpose is to talk to people about the environment, to talk about our natural resources. If you could tell us more about this cycle march.
In fact, when India was independent, we adopted the Western model of development, and that was economic insecurity we were passing through. That was very important. So we had also been doing industrialization and everything, whatever the Western world had been doing. Now, that time was economic crisis across the world. But today, if you look into the globally, even the America currently is passing through the storms. And so in our country, whether it is a sea, whether it is a mountain, everywhere ecological distresses. So that does mean that somewhere we are wrong. And the message ultimately we want to carry is, we cannot deny the development. We really need the one. Yes. But ecology, inclusive economy model can give you only sustainability and sustenance. And that is the reason. Pragati means the Mumbai is the one city in the world, in the country, which is placed as Sensex fall and come up. And here we come from a place which we are, with the Ganga, many rivers emanating from the Himalayas, we call ecological capital. So on one hand, we have economy reaching, and the Mumbai know about that better, where on the other hand, we have the mountain also suffering. Mumbai also, one rainfall and Mumbai gone. So therefore, I think more important today will be, we need a Pragati, Mumbai and Prakriti both. And therefore, we are undertaking this mission and saying that the GDP cannot be everything, which we adopted again from the Europeans. We really need another growth measure, which we place as a ecological growth measure, gross environment product. Herein, 4 pillars: water, soil, air, and forest. Where do we stand annually against the
Absolutely. So we have to talk about environment also when we talk about development, and climate change is no longer something that's, you know, in the distance or something that's in the future. It's here, it's happening right now. You said Pakistan floods, the fires in the US, the fires in Europe. We're seeing it, and the hurricanes and, you know, there are cyclones that are coming. Mumbai was under threat a few months ago under a cyclone.
But I am to tell you that this country may be different in the world, but nature is one. So this has to be understood. And the second important thing is, see, we unfortunately, whether it is the Western world, today, you know, the whole Western Europe had the temperature 41 to 47 degrees centigrade. If that model is perfect, I think we'll have to deny now that model anymore. Because 41 to 47 degrees centigrade, 65% Europe was dry this time. So it does mean that somewhere that model won't do. India definitely have, when we can aspire, we can think we are a country where हवा, मिट्टी, जंगल, पानी को भगवान माना जाता था. परंपराओं की अपनी एक जगह थी. लेकिन हमने क्या किया? आंखें बंद करके एक मॉडल किया. लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि एक समय आ चुका है कि हमें समझना होगा कि प्रकृति प्रभु प्रवृत्ति में अंतर नहीं होता. और इसलिए अगर बेहतर बनना है तो you will have to respect ecosystem also, ecology also, environment also. As good we want to have a development, but we will have to be very serious about the ecosystem growth.
And आपके साथ बहुत सारे लोग भी जुड़े हुए हैं. And if you could tell us a bit about the journey you're going to take all along the way, you're going to be talking about the environment and natural resources and trying to mobilize people and create awareness.
Yes, we wanted to do from a place like Mumbai, and sea to the mountain, and samudra se shikhar tak. That's the whole idea. And we have a group, youth, girls also, different classes. You see, there are well-off people also and very poor. And we are a mixed one. And we want to realize all of them that their future is not with the huge building that you have around. The more important is Jaan than Jahan. So Jaan is more important. Jahan, you can only enjoy Jahan when you have a Jaan, and Jaan is likely to, something wrong likely to happen.
Okay, so if you would tell us, आप कहाँ से हैं? आप बताइए अपने बारे में.
मैं उत्तराखंड से, उत्तरकाशी से हूँ, और हम लोग जो ये भी साइकिलिंग के लिए निकले हैं, तो मैसेज एक ही है कि प्रकृति से हम हैं, हमसे प्रकृति नहीं है. So this is a message.
Okay, lovely. So lots of young people here, as you can see all. And if you could tell us a bit about the route that you'll be taking, where will you be stopping?
We will be passing through the 7 states. We begin with the Maharashtra, then Madhya Pradesh, and then Haryana, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, and then Uttarakhand, 7 states. And we are beginning Gandhi ji ki jagah se, Gandhi ji ke din se, because Gandhi was very well aware of ecology, economy, and he knew better than any person in the world. I strongly believe that. And that day we were beginning Gandhi ji ka din se, and we are going to a day where we have a Sthapna Divas. Uttarakhand was born. We want to realize both of them. You had been here, but you see, even both places are currently suffering. We cannot be very happy with this.
Well, this is very dear to me since I'm also from Uttarakhand, so very, our full support to this cycle march that's taking place, and it'll end in Uttarakhand on the 7th of November. Back to you, Swati.
Thank you so much, Gargi, for that. Sir, so one of the things that's so clear now, and nobody can deny, is that what is not ecological in the long run will never be economical. So when it comes to that, why is that even now, knowing the threat of climate change, even our approach to tackling climate change is through a small lens of only carbon? We're looking at net carbon zero. We're looking at reducing carbon emissions. We're looking at the whole situation like as if carbon's the only threat. And around this, we've started carbon trading. We started looking at technology that can draw down carbon. We're looking at technology that will reduce carbon. And all of this involves capital, money, markets, trade, and it goes right back into the system that caused the problem in the first place. We're not, nature doesn't work in a silo. We're not looking at climate change at the end of the day is just a sort of, I would say it's like if a body is sick, climate change is sort of the result, that's the sickness. Right. But it's biodiversity, it's species diversity, it's actual health of the ecosystem that matters. So why is it that we're still on that, in a sense, the carbon? Is it because it's so hard to change this economic model?
I think probably carbon was the most convenient way to do it to begin with, and also a little bit more easier to understand, measure, and appreciate. Probably that's the reason it started with. The other thing is probably, the change that you're talking about will need not just companies, it will need individuals, it will need the people, it will need politicians, it will need government, everybody to be in it, right?
No, absolutely. But frankly, there are about 86 companies in the world responsible for over 75% of the emissions. And that is like a holy cow nobody touches. Everybody puts the responsibility on individual. You don't use single-use plastic. You don't do this. You don't, which is absolutely fact, and we must.
Right.
But I can keep doing something as an individual, but what is the point of me cutting down my carbon footprint if those 86 companies keep producing carbon? You know, so there's a bit of an inequity there, and I don't think businesses have addressed that well enough.
They haven't. I think, to be honest, it's who will bell the cat is probably the issue, that somebody has to take that step. And to my mind, it's a very strong step, and it has to be probably taken by the governments of the world. As we are seeing in privacy, for example, it's a pretty similar example. There's steps to be taken. It's the government which is finally driving, and my request to the government is to start there, because people will voluntarily not do it. I mean, people have to be sometimes pushed to do it.
It's true. That's true. We're just going to take a break. We'll be back in the discussion. And yeah, we'll see you soon.
नहीं रुकेंगे नहीं रुकेंगे सबको स्वस्थ करेंगे पूरा स्वस्थ करेंगे नहीं थमेंगे नहीं थमेंगे अब ठान लिया है मंजिल पाके रहेंगे
स्वास्थ्य मंत्र क्या है?
चेक
जी आवाज आ रही है
चेक। अच्छा, हमारा सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ ये होती है कि आई थिंक जो हमने इतने टाइम में ये सीखा है कि जो सबसे 90% जो रोल प्ले करता है वो ये है कि हम खाते क्या है, हमारे मुंह में क्या जा रहा है दिन भर में, क्योंकि हम बहुत वर्कआउट करते हैं, क्रिकेट खेलते हैं, लेकिन हमने रियलाइज़ किया कि 2-2 घंटे वर्कआउट करने के बाद भी अगर हम लोग पूरा दिन में अपने हिसाब से कुछ भी खाते हैं तो उसका कोई असर नज़र नहीं आता था। जब से हमने खाना पीना अपना कंट्रोल किया है कि सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट है कि हम कितना खा रहे हैं, पोर्शन जो होता है वो हमने रियलाइज़ किया है कि वो सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट है। तो कहाँ रुकना है ये जानना सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है, और जब ये पता चलता है तो फिर उसके बाद कभी ज़िंदगी में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आती हेल्थ को।
और मेरे लिए खाने के बाद सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट है मेंटल हेल्थ, बिकॉज ये जो उन्होंने बोला कंट्रोल, ये यहाँ से आता है। और अगर अपनी थॉट्स पे, इमोशंस पे हम कंट्रोल कर लें तो वी कैन कंट्रोल एनीथिंग इन लाइफ। तो कंट्रोल इज़ द की मेडिसिन टैबलेट, इट्स एन इनविजिबल टैबलेट आई हैव एवरी इन द मॉर्निंग। 5 सेकंड याद करना होता है, आज पूरे दिन कंट्रोल रखना है अपने पे, बिकॉज हम लोग बहक जाते हैं खाना देख के, और हम लोग थोड़े नॉनवेज है तो हमें नॉनवेज देख के ज़्यादा होता है। तो आई थिंक स्वस्थ इज ऑल अबाउट कंट्रोल इन योर, इट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम हियर।
फैंटास्टिक, बहुत ही बढ़िया।
सांस का बहुत महत्व होता है। सांस
जी जी जी,
वो कैसे कंट्रोल करते हैं?
Yoga meditation is the best way, because we have been taught, but we are not experts in this, because यहाँ पे बहुत बड़े बड़े geniuses हैं, but हमने जितना भी सीखा थोड़ा बहुत कि अगर मेडिटेशन और योगा करें तो सांस का पूरा कंट्रोल, और संगीत में तो हमें बहुत ज़रूरत पड़ती है डबिंग के टाइम पे,
क्योंकि हम लोग स्वास्थ्य की बात कर रहे हैं। जब जो लोग मरीज़ होते हैं ना कोविड के, तो अस्पताल में जब मैं था तो मुझसे कहा गया था रोज़ कि कम से कम 45 सेकंड अपनी सांस रोक के रखिए। तो उससे क्या था कि लंग्स जो हैं थोड़ी सी उनको शक्ति मिलती है, और वो प्रतिदिन ये चेक करते थे। तो कहीं ना कहीं इसका एक हमारे स्वास्थ्य जो कार्यक्रम है उससे भी उसका संबंध है, इसीलिए मैं पूछ रहा था आपसे। बहुत लोग कहते थे कि स्विमिंग पूल में जाकर के नीचे सांस रोक करके कितनी देर आप रह सकते हैं वहाँ, या कितनी देर आप सांस रोक सकते हैं।
बिल्कुल,
उससे लंग्स में स्ट्रेंथ आती है, और जब लंग्स में स्ट्रेंथ आती है तो कोविड महाराज भी बाहर ही रहते हैं।
आई थिंक आज नई चीज़ सीखी है, ये हर बार जब भी हम सर से मिलते हैं हमने इन सर के साथ गाने किए हैं, और एक चीज़ आपसे और सीखी है सर, जो हम हर जगह बताते हैं, आप तक ऑब्वियसली वो बात कभी पहुंचती नहीं है, कि लाइफ में हर चीज़ एक डिसिप्लिन जो है कि समय अनुसार हर चीज़ होना, ये कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है, ये हमने सर से सीखा। एक फिल्म का एक अनाउंसमेंट था, ऐसा भी नहीं था कि कोई बहुत बड़ा अवार्ड शो था, और उसमें हमें बोला कि ये आपको वो एक म्यूजिकली सबको प्रेजेंट करना है। तो हमने एक छोटी सी एक्ट बनाई कि इसमें सर भी आएंगे। तो हमें कॉल आया कि सर मिलना चाहते हैं। तो हम सर के घर गए और उन्होंने बोला कि आप बताइए क्या करना चाहते हैं। तो हमने बोला सर हम ऐसा करना चाहते हैं। तो उन्होंने बोला रिहर्सल कब होगी। तो हम दोनों एक दूसरे को देखने लग गए कि इसकी भी रिहर्सल होगी क्या। तो सर ने बोला नहीं, मैं पूरा रिहर्सल आप बताएं कैसे क्या होगा। तो उन्होंने बोला 18 तारीख को शाम को फिल्म सिटी में 6 बजे हम रिहर्सल करते हैं। तो हमने कहा ठीक है सर। तो हम दोनों घर गए। हमने कहा सर रिहर्सल मतलब इसमें तो सर को सिर्फ चल के ऊपर आना है। और उस दिन हम लोग वहाँ थे, वहाँ पे हम लोग अपना साउंड चेक कर रहे थे और सडनली एक हलचल मची कि बच्चन साहब आ गए, बच्चन साहब आ गए। और हमने जब घड़ी देखी तो 6 बज रहे थे। तो सर ने ऐसे उस वक्त टाइम्स अपना बोल दिया था और 6 बजे सर की एंट्री हुई। उन्होंने 15 मिनट सिर्फ, हमारे पास वीडियो है, सिर्फ नीचे से ऊपर आने की रिहर्सल करी है। उस दिन हम दोनों ने ये सीख लिया कि डिसिप्लिन, समय, हर चीज़ का डिसिप्लिन अनुसार चलना लाइफ में, आई थिंक इसलिए ये लेजेंड है सर। और इसीलिए हम लोग इंडस्ट्री में आज हैं क्योंकि सर को देख देख के हम लोग सीख रहे हैं।
इनफैक्ट
अच्छा सुनिए, आज हम लोग आपकी कला सुनने आए हैं। हमारी कलागिरी के बारे में बात मत कीजिए।
एक बात और बोलनी है, आज भी एक लाइफ चेंजिंग डे है हमारे लिए। आज भी हमने 1 सेकंड में, हमें वहाँ पीछे NDTV से अंबिका जी ने बताया कि आज के शो के लिए पिछले 9 साल से सुबह 7:30 से 9:30 बजे तक सर बैठते हैं यहाँ पे आप लोगों के साथ। That opened my eye because I was feeling lazy.
And he finished work at 2 o'clock last night. And he was here at 7:15 in the
अच्छा
morning.
उनको बंद किया आपको भूलने की क्या
तो
जरूरत
ये
है?
सर ये सीक्रेट ये हेल्थ के ऊपर है कि आपकी हेल्थ जिस तरीके से आपने मेंटेन करी है, पूरे देश को पता होना चाहिए कि कैसे इतने घंटे एक ही जगह पे आप बैठ सकते हो सालों से, फ्रॉम दोज डेज टिल नाउ।
चलिए अब एक काम करते हैं मीत बंधु कि अब आपका गाना सुन के इसको सेलिब्रेट करते हैं। और मैं जाते जाते जब हम नीचे उतरते हैं तो ये भी बताते चलूं कि आपका साथ तबला माइस्ट्रो जीतू शंकर भी दे रहे हैं।
बिल्कुल
यहाँ पर हमारे साथ उपस्थित हैं। आपका और आपके पूरे क्रू का बहुत बहुत स्वागत, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। स्टेज इज योर्स।
प्रत्येक गाने का हृदय होता है सर, जितने भी संगीतकार हैं।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
They are the heart of every song.
डेडिकेटिंग आवर सॉन्ग
Come.
टू बच्चन साहब।
नचे था तू बड़ी जच्चे, हाई हील पे नचे था तू बड़ी जच्चे। हाई हील पे नचे।
Alright, thank you very much everybody. It was a pleasure coming. और सब अपना अपना स्वास्थ्य का ख्याल रखें। Thank you for having us NDTV.
ये एनर्जी हमने इसलिए दी ताकि सबको अपनी हेल्थ का ख्याल रहे, ऐसी एनर्जी मेंटेन करें। एंड आई जस्ट होप हमारा देश सबसे ज़्यादा स्वस्थ रहे। थैंक यू।